Hello and welcome to this week's Wisdom Wednesday. I'm Dr. Susanna Alter.
And it's Dr. Benjamin here.
And in these calls, we cover the topics of innate well-being, innate peace, and innate wisdom through the lens of mind, thought, and consciousness.
That's right. And as usual, if you don't know who we are both naturopathic doctors who support you in optimizing your health in all of these ways that you just explained, Dr. Susanna, understanding all this stuff, but also through whole food, plant-based nutrition and mindset stuff, these mindset kind of things. So today we're talking about being a self-made drama queen, which we all are. We all are. That's kind of the argument. That's kind of the argument that we're going with today. The thesis of today's episode. We are all self-made drama queens. And maybe you identify more as a drama king or prince or princess or whatever it might be. But Susanna wanted to share her story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's funny because actually before we came on today's call, we are thinking of everything we've talked about so far in our Wisdom Wednesday series here on this podcast. And, so far we've kind of kept things to like certain topics like, oh, let's talk about trust today, or let's talk about decision making today. And we realized that pretty soon we would run out of topics.
Yeah. In other words, the up until now, this podcast or these episodes of the podcast have been very conceptual. We've been talking about concepts and ideas and theories and principles and stuff like that. We haven't been sharing so much real world boots on the ground stuff. We've used that sort of thing as examples, but I guess we're kind of shifting into that territory of just life as teacher.
Right. Yeah. Because the truth is that living life, brings us to these situations where, oh my gosh, we learn things, we see things from a fresh perspective. And that's why in these calls, if you've been wondering why we share so much and why we share so openly about our personal stuff, that's why we share, because it is through these personal experiences in life that we see fresh insight, and hearing other people share fresh insight helps us relate it to what we're going through.
And guess what? We are all human beings. It doesn't matter if you have a doctor in front of your name or some other initials or letters at the end of your name. Everyone is a human being, and therefore everyone is subject to life and all of the ways that life happens through us. So I think, you bring up a good point, and obviously we're kind of just setting the stage here, but one of I kind of articulated this some time ago, that one of my missions and goals is to normalize the human experience, because we live in our human thought created reality. And sometimes it feels like what we're experiencing is so scary and abnormal and pathological, and there's something wrong with us, because we really, I would say not many people really understand what is normal. Maybe because we could say that there is no normal in terms of what we should be feeling, how we should be feeling it, how we should be relating with the world and understanding and thinking and all these kind of things. There is no shoulds. There is no their normal way of being in life. We're just in life the way that we're in life. And now into the drama of life. Where does the drama come from? Well, of course, the title of today's episode is Self-Made Drama Queen, implying, of course, that we are making ourselves into the drama queen or king or prince that we wish to be or wish not to be. And again, it's okay if we are a drama queen, or if we look back and see, oh man, I've been really dramatizing life and victimizing myself. Like, that's okay. Again, we're all subjects to that, and do that. But I guess the moral of the story, even before we get into the story, is having that kind of insight and perspective to look back at some point or look in at some point. It doesn't matter if it's too late, quote unquote, or past the fact, but we can look back and look in and identify these incongruencies and have a greater understanding of how life is truly happening, so that in the future we're a little bit more informed and educated and with it, until we're not, because guess what, we're going to screw up again and again.
Yes. And Marina, yes, we can see your comments. Thanks for being with us. We are live right now. We've got live viewers right now, and thanks for our live viewers for being with us.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting into the personal story here. Got some personal relationship drama that happened last weekend. At least in my mind, in my world, it was dramatic. And so last Saturday, we went on this beautiful, epic mountain bike ride. The leaves are just like peak golden aspen, right now, up in our area. And so we were taking advantage of that. We decided to go on this very popular route, not that popular for like mountain bikers, but really popular for the four-wheelers, the side-by-sides, the off-roaders, right? And also lots of hikers. So it was this like really busy, dusty kind of, for me, it was a stressful kind of scenario, because when I ride with Ben, I try my best to keep up with him. And I need to explain why that is in a little bit. But anyway, it was a very stressful scenario for me, because I was really trying to keep up with Ben, but then I would get stuck behind like 8 cars that were kind of trying to like pass another car. And so it was just kind of a stressful scenario for me. And as I was riding my bike, I would catch up to Ben and in my mind, I would think like, gosh, Ben is probably really losing his patience with me. He's probably getting really frustrated with me because he's been waiting for me for however many minutes. And
so you'd be pedaling your bike through the dust, uphill with all this weight, wearing your backpack, drinking water, and struggling to pedal up, and also carrying with you all of these
Ben
thoughts.
Is so pissed at me. Ben is so pissed at me. He's going to snap any second. I know it. I know he's going to snap any second. Ben's so pissed at me. And then what happens? Ben comes back and says, like,
I say anything at all. It doesn't matter what I say. And then I open up my mouth and I say, "Hey, Susanna, how are you doing? How's it going back there? Are you eating a lot of dust?" No, like, but you were, it was like the pedaling of the bike and the thoughts and your experience was like winding you up like a little toy. And then again, like I opened my mouth to you and you're wound up and open your mouth to me, and she got upset with me.
Well,
she got really upset with me.
Because what happened was, in my reality that I was creating with nothing other than my own thoughts, in my reality, Ben was pissed at me. In another way of putting it, I just assumed that Ben was pissed at me.
Yeah. And
so my immediate response was to be on the defense. Like, Ben, I'm trying at my best.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was stuck behind 8 cars back there and blah, 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 That was kind of my immediate response, was to go into defense mode, because I assumed, based off of my thinking, that Ben was pissed off at me. And
whether or not I was truly pissed off and what I was actually pissed off at, because if I'm pissed, what we know is and by the way, we later learned that I wasn't in fact pissed or impatient or anything. But the fact is, if I was pissed or impatient or upset or hungry or frustrated or whatever, like that's my internal situation. And that actually, even though I might point my pissed offness in the direction of Susanna, it's not her fault. Just the same way as she might point her pissed offness in my direction, it's not my fault. But we might feed off of one another and magnify and allow that drama to escalate, which it did.
Right. So it's just a really interesting situation where there I was, once again, I keep saying, creating my own reality based off of my thoughts and assumptions. And I created this entire drama. This is why we say self-made drama queen, because this was a one-man show. I created the drama in my head. And Ben is like, whoa, 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 why are you yelling at me? Whoa, whoa, like it kind of came out of the blue because you
I was just, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. Where's Susanna? Okay, I'll wait here in the shade and hey.
So yeah. So actually, Ben was very patient with me and
I was doing my best.
Explained that he actually wasn't pissed off, which for me was very hard to believe because I had convinced myself that he was.
She didn't believe me.
But anyway, now I'm just, I'm so grateful that we had that experience because it's more clear to me now how I was telling myself a bunch of lies. And even if Ben was impatient or has been impatient in the past or whatever, it's really, that's his, that's not mine. I don't need to be worried about keeping up with him in order to make sure he doesn't get impatient or pissed off or whatever. Yeah. Right.
And truth be told, I'll be the first to admit that I have a tendency to be impatient. And I know why that is, or I know why it's not due to Susanna. I get impatient when I'm by myself. I do. I get impatient with the cats.
Because of the drama that you create in your head with your thoughts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I was thinking just about how, we can translate this kind of scenario to so many other scenarios that don't look like, mountain biking on a dusty, crowded road, right? But just like how many times are we walking around creating our reality, making assumptions based off of what we see or based off of what we think we know about someone and casting all this judgment or creating all this separation or creating this drama between people that we're in relationship with, right?
Yeah, no, the word assumption is I think an important one here because I think you might be able to say that that's kind of all we're doing all the time is just making assumptions in life. And that's kind of all our thoughts are just kind of assumptions of what's going on, at least when we're thinking about, especially when we're thinking about other people and other situations. When you walk into a room or into a meeting, you're assuming and kind of creating and building this drama and story and expectations based on these assumptions about what they think and what's going on and what they expect of you and blah, 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 blah. And we can, in fact, kind of just allow all of that energy, all those thoughts to deflate because they're made of nothing. And I think that's obviously a theme and a message that is consistent through a lot of these conversations on Wednesdays is just not being afraid of the assumptions and perceptions and thinking and just recognizing them for what they are, just kind of part of the normal human experience, nothing to be afraid of. So
yeah.
So I have a hard time because I know that for me, like after something like that happens, after a dramatic event happens, and then there's conversation, and then there's insight, and then there's learning, then for me, there's naturally some expectations that are created that are like, okay, well, that's not going to happen again, and I'm going to be honest with you. It's like, I kind of hope that it doesn't happen again. And I know that it will. I know that it will happen again. Maybe not in the exact way that it happened previously, but it'll probably happen again because remembering is helpful. And then hopefully, I guess my intention is next time it happens, I'll have greater insight earlier on, unless I don't. Unless I, fall into forgetfulness and, get upset. But in comes the self-compassion for wherever we are in our upset or peace
Yeah, it's interesting because actually I remember it was Sunday, the next day after this dramatic day. And I was like, I actually had this feeling of like, oh, I want to ride with Ben again because I want to test myself. Like I want to test myself and
You mean like physically or like
no, not physically.
emotionally?
Like I want to test myself on this topic of what we just talked about here today of not taking it personally if you are impatient, or not stewing in thoughts about, oh, I got to make sure that Ben doesn't get mad at me. Like I want to put myself in that scenario again so I can like graduate from it or whatever. But the big I think the big thing is that we also don't put that expectation on ourselves like to be perfect, right? Because of what you said. Like it's human tendency to make assumptions. It's human tendency to buy into our thinking. It is. And sometimes like these situations do bring us greater insight so that they happen less often and we catch them, we kind of nip them in the bud before it blows up into something bigger, right? I mean, that's the gift of this kind of learning of life. But at the same time, like we're not always going to be in that clear state of mind where we're able to really recognize the thinking for what it is, and we will still fall prey to the thinking and the drama and get wrapped up in the drama, and that's okay. And it's okay.
Not only is it okay, it's the beauty of life.
Yeah.
Like that's what, in fact, what brings the beauty to all of life.
Yeah. So the self-compassion is big.
So thanks for letting us share our insights over the last weekend. And just a reminder, if any of you would like to join in these sorts of conversations that happen every week, you can do so by joining the Peace on Earth program, which is a weekly offering through Alter Health. You can learn more at alter.health/peace on earth. It's a sliding scale sort of thing. So
I like these. I'm just going to read a few of these comments from Illistine. People tend to be comfortable with assumptions because of their why can't I say this
familiarity?
Word? Familiarity. Thank you. Versus being open and uncomfortable with an unknown experience. I love that.
Yeah, assumptions are just kind of an outward reflection of what is familiar.
Yeah.
Versus the unknown, which is not. Thank you for articulating that.
Infinite. And then I like Marina's too. I want to say Marina's just always trying to remember awareness matters. And when we are aware, we can accept ourselves and others. That's beautiful. Also coming up probably in 2 weeks or so is going to be a longer mindset discussion in the plant-based and stress-free group.
How about that?
Like we called it a few months ago, we called it the stress-free assembly. It'll be kind of something like that.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah. So
Another
keep your
assembly.
eyes peeled. Yes, for a longer free mindset call.
Well, peace and love, you guys. We look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for being here.
Bye for now.